Good Sunday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jess Peterson, and let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about for tonight, as always. But before we get into the exact details, what are we even going to talk about tonight? What are we even going to go on and talk about tonight? So, if we go on and look at the what's on tap screen for tonight, you can already see that we will talk about tonight's weather, current conditions with the patchy fog chance again tonight. We will talk about the unseasonably warm temperatures that go through Wednesday, increasing showers slash thunderstorm chances Monday through Wednesday as well. And then we're going to talk about a strong cold front that will bring rain, possibly even thunder, breezy conditions going into Thursday as well. So all of that going on. And if we go on and look at the radar, as I go on and say, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, we have around a good, I don't have YouTube pulled up right now, but probably a good amount of people in here and probably a couple of people who have not hit the like button yet. So if you are part of that group, go and hit the like button. Also, make sure that you go and hit the subscribe button. We are still at that 712. We've been stuck at 712 for a couple of days now at this point. So go on and hit the like button if you have not already, and the subscribe button. And if you have not hit the share button yet, go on and do so. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. And so let's go on and talk about current conditions. So right now we do in fact have some rainfall going on throughout the state. Now it's mainly light. I see some rainfall up here near Florence, near Dillon, near Marion, Conway, Myrtle Beach, getting in on some over here near Lake City, Georgetown, just to the east, in like eastern Berkeley County. Charleston may be receiving some rainfall, and it's just spread out over the place. And so the upstate's not really seeing a whole lot of rainfall at all. In fact, they're actually pretty dry right now compared to everybody else. If we go in and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., though, obviously that all cannot be said. We do, in fact, have some heavy rainfall activity over here in North Carolina, Virginia, going on down here side of southern Texas, central Texas, going on into southern Louisiana. Rainfall going on up here inside of Wisconsin and Michigan, as well as maybe even a mix of some rain and some snow going on in Montana. Rainfall moving on over here in the Pacific Northwest, as well as North Dakota and Minnesota. You also do have some rainfall over here inside of Georgia, Alabama, Florida, all of these areas as well receiving rainfall as we speak. Now, what about for our cloud cover? Cloud cover, for the most part, seems like that most of us are covered. Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, Low Country, all having cloud cover right now as we speak. And that was expected as we go throughout tonight. If you even go in and look at that cloud cover for the future, you can see that it will start to clear out, though. I will say that. It will definitely start to clear out. You want to push this forward all the way through 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock, and you just push it through. I mean, you definitely can see a big change for when it comes to cloud cover going into like tonight into tomorrow morning. Now there will be some fog that kind of clutters everything up a little bit, but watch as we get into the afternoon. With that being, this is 1 o'clock p.m. I forgot since we're on daylight saving time now. We actually have to go on and go back to the 18Z instead. Here's the 18Z right here. That's not the 18Z. There it is. Alright, so we're going to start back off where we just were. Like 1 p.m., look at how it starts to clear up. We go all the way through 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. It just looks, for the most part, a lot nicer than it was today. Here's going into 7 p.m. And then cloud cover does try to come back as you go into like tomorrow night going into Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday morning comes along, brings in some more cloud cover. Then we get to Tuesday afternoon. Cloud cover is now moving its way out to sea, even as you get into like that Tuesday afternoon time frame. So that's what we have in terms of cloud cover. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 66 in Charleston, 68 in Beaufort, as well as 66 in Hilton Island, 69 in Somerville, as well as 67 in Georgetown, 66 inside of Murray's Inlet, as well as 65 in Myrtle Beach, 69 in Conway and Orangeburg, as well as 65 in Aiken, 67 in Columbia, and 66 in Lugoff, 64 Lancaster, and even Newbury, 63 Clemson, Anderson, Lawrence, Spartanburg, Gaffney, 62 in Greenville. Now for your air quality, for the most part, looks like that we are still in like the mostly good territory. Moderate. Do have a little moderate right there in like the Tri-County area, but for the most part, all of us are inside of the good category. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 56 in Greenville, 57 in Spartanburg, as well as a good 58 in Rock Hill, 62 in Columbia, 63 in Orangeburg, 62 in Aiken, even 63 in Bournwell, 60 Walterboro, and 61 in Moncks Corner, 61 in Charleston, and 62 in Hilton Head Island, 60 in Georgetown, and 61 inside of Myrtle Beach, 60 in Kingstree, and 62 in Florence and Dillon. High temperatures for tomorrow, you have around a good 78 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Lawrence, going on over into Anderson and Winsboro, 82 in Columbia, 81 in Camden, Sumter, Orangeburg, Bournwell, 80 Florence and Aiken, as well as Kingstree, Moncks Corner at 80, 77 at Charleston, Georgetown, Hilton Head Island, and then 72 at Myrtle Beach. Now for your rainfall, for the most part, looks like that we are still actually going to be pretty dry as we go throughout the next 24 hours. This goes all the way from Tuesday, or let's say Tuesday. That does say Tuesday. Hold on, wait 1 second. May have gotten the wrong date here. Hopefully they have not updated it yet. Seems like they have not yet. Okay, this is the actual one. Okay, this makes a lot more sense now. Alright, here we go. So as we go throughout the next 24 hours, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch going on for Rock Hill, for Columbia, for Camden, for Sumter, Cheraw, going into Orangeburg as well. 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch possible for Walterboro, Charleston, going on inside of Dillon. And then maybe even a quarter of an inch to a half an inch possible for Kingstree, Georgetown, and Myrtle Beach. Half an inch to an inch still possible for Moncks Corner. And that's going throughout the next 24 hours. So a lot of this may come in from, the past hour. That's definitely possible that a lot of this activity could have been from the past hour. But for right now, it looks like that it might go on for just a little bit longer for some of these areas over here. So I will say that some of this rainfall probably have already fallen already. So you may not see as much as you see right now on this map. Now, in terms of the crazy score, if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now, we are at an 18. Why are we at an 18? Well, mainly because, or 14, excuse me. We're at a 14 because, number one, dense fog, still there, still possible. Lingering showers still going on right now. But for the most part, that's about it. Just patchy fog and maybe some cloud cover here and there. And then also slight rainfall activity. But for the most part, everything else is calm. Nothing else too significant. But we almost are getting inside that mild category, which, honestly, I think we probably should be inside more of the mild category. But we can take the calm category for now. SPC outlook for tonight, thunderstorms still possible. Even though right now I believe they are not going on throughout the state right now as we speak. But I do believe that the activity is still there. They haven't moved it out yet. So I think we're about done with it though. SPC outlook for tomorrow. Thunderstorms still possible. Low Country, PD, Grand Strand areas. And then as we go into Tuesday comes along, no thunderstorm activity. Now for fire weather, nothing here. Excessive rainfall, nothing for day 1. Day 2, day 3, day 4, or day 5, so we're good there as well. So let's go and look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. So we're going to go on and talk about that also. I forgot to mention at the beginning, but we also will be talking about this week's forecast as well. But starting off, we're going to start off with the short term in terms of like the next 48 hours or so, because the 0Z is not all the way updated yet. So yeah, we're going to have to go back to the 18Z instead. And so as we go and just start off, as I get over here to 9 o'clock p.m., you see that we do in fact have rainfall activity, isolated shower activity, moderate activity. By 9 p.m., you go in and push this forward right here. And by the time you get to around 11 o'clock p.m., 12 o'clock in the morning, you still see rainfall activity going on throughout parts of the PD areas, still parts of the eastern Midland areas as well, northern Midlands as well. By 12 a.m., you go in and push this forward. And then even in like the low country still, I mean, even by like 3 o'clock in the morning, you still can see some rainfall activity from over there. But we continue through Monday, during the day Monday, nice and dry. I see like a little shower activity over there, like near Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, at around like maybe around like 5 to 7 o'clock p.m. or so. And so that goes away relatively quickly. I'm not really looking for anything too major there. Then as we move into Tuesday, Tuesday still has a little bit of an isolated shower chance as you go into like the morning time frame, especially over there inside of the PD areas. But again, not a whole lot to really talk about here. And we're going to end that off at 2 p.m. on Tuesday instead of 7 o'clock p.m. We're going to end it off at 2 o'clock p.m. instead. So let's go on and look at the long-term future, because the short-term future doesn't really have too much to really show. Does not have too much to really show. But if we go on and push this forward, you can see that we do in fact have a bunch of rainfall activities that's possible. I mean, you see like isolated and scattered shower activity that goes on through Tuesday. Wednesday comes along, dries off. But the main day that I've been talking about for so long now, Thursday, going into Friday. Thursday right here comes along, and we have some rainfall activity going on throughout the eastern parts of the state, northern parts of the state, low country areas. And that's just before the main system moves in on Thursday. And so now we're getting to a point to where like we're 100 hours away from this thing occurring. I mean, we were just talking about yesterday about how this thing was 300 to 400 hours out. And now it's less than 100 hours out at this point. That's how long we've been talking about this system. But it goes through. It brings us rainfall activity, brings us thunderstorm, breezy activity. And one thing that it also does bring is that potential for some cold air as that cold front moves through on Thursday. Now, as we go in and push this forward, we go through Friday, Saturday, things dry off a lot. I mean, I've been saying like a nice dry weekend definitely is in store for us as we go into next weekend. But if we continue even through Monday, going into Tuesday of the week after next week as well. And it seems like for the most part, still rainfall activity is still possible. Low pressure system moving its way to the east. But we have just a bunch of moderate activity that continues through as after the weekend next week is done. And then for the most part, everything else is a bit too far out, but more cold air maybe tries to move through. And just for the most part, it just looks like that. It's still going to be kind of active, but it's not really going to be maybe as active as we thought it was going to be. I know Thursday going to be active, Friday in the weekend calms down, going to Monday and Tuesday maybe a little bit active, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even going into Friday, not as active. So let's go on now and check out this week's forecast. Let's go on and check out this week's forecast. So let's go on and go to the CFS right here. And we're going to go on and move on over into the eastern U.S. And one thing that you do notice is in terms of this week, we will be above average in terms of temperatures, meaning that we will see above average temperatures this week than what we would normally see. So that doesn't mean that we won't receive any cold air in general. It just means that warm air will most likely be trying to dominate for most of the week. Now, in terms of precipitation seems to be kind of a split. Upstate, more than average or above average precipitation. For like the Midlands, northern PD areas, about normal. Low country, southern Midlands, Grand Strand areas, below average in terms of rainfall for this week. Does this mean that you're not going to receive any rainfall or get no rainfall at all? No, just based off of an average. So I will say that will go on and that will affect our drought, especially inside the low country areas, pretty hefty, pretty heavily. Now, I mean, we still have that D2 drought, but we saw some relief. We saw some relief as we went into last week for the drought monitor because we saw a good amount of the Midlands get taken out of a drought now just inside the abnormally dry. And I'm honestly kind of interested to see what the drought has to look like for next week because, I mean, I know a lot of people definitely got a good amount of rainfall today. Got a good amount of rainfall today. And I am one of them. I am one of them. I got 1.33 inches at my house today. So about a bit more than an inch and a quarter. So good amount of rainfall. Very good amount of rainfall that, in my opinion, we needed. So I'm honestly very happy about that. But I will say that I do think that we're still going to need more rainfall than that. We are still going to need more rainfall than that if we want to really get rid of this drought like that. But back to the models, though, we're going to talk about the temperature anomalies for the week and just the temperatures in general for the week. Going and push this forward. We're starting off here 8 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. Pushing this forward, you can see how we are above average as we go throughout the majority of the week. Going through Monday, Tuesday, 20 degrees above average. I mean, we're seeing even some mid-20s above average as we go into Wednesday. But then, we're doing so well. We're, trying to get into those mid-80s. And then the cold front comes through and just ruins it all. We go into Thursday, and we are now below average in terms of temperatures. That goes all the way through. We go into like Friday morning, going into Friday afternoon, still below average in terms of temperatures. And then as we go into Saturday during the day, that's when things start to calm back to the more just above average trend in terms of temperature. So we're below average Thursday through Friday, but then Saturday comes along and it kind of warms us right back up. But another cold blast will be trying to come through as we go into the week after next week, that being Tuesday, Wednesday or so, dropping us really below average as we go all the way throughout next week. But we'll talk about that, once we get into Sunday of next week, that being on Sunday the 15th. And maybe a little bit later this week as well. Now, in terms of our actual temperatures, right here, we're going to start off at the 48-hour mark, or no, we're actually going to start off at like the 9-hour mark, actually. We want to push this forward. High temperatures for tomorrow, getting up to the 80s. We have, Tuesday 80s, Wednesday mid-80s potentially, actually most likely mid-80s as we go into Wednesday. Going into Thursday, I say that as we go on into the day, those temperatures are going to want to get up there. I mean, you're seeing 80s inside of like the low country area by 2 o'clock p.m. And I said that if this cold front comes by a little bit later than forecasted, we may have some areas that reach the 80s. And so that was not being shown by the GFS yesterday. But now the GFS has kind of pushed this cold front back a little bit. And since it pushed it back a little bit, we actually may have some areas that might actually reach the 80s now. And so it was looking like from a standpoint that we may have our high temperatures during the day, which for during the nighttime, which for some, that's still definitely possible. But the more towards the coast you are, the higher your temperature will be during the day, it seems. Now, this can still change. We're still 90 hours out. So I will say that you still have to continue to wait, see what happens. See the timing of the cold front. And we'll even look at the European model, see what time the European model has this cold front coming in. But it pushes through. We get down all the way into the 50s and 40s for our low temperatures as we go into this weekend. And then it will try to warm back up as we get into like Sunday of next week, for example. We're up to the 70s, 80s. And then that cold front moves its way through by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of the week after next week and drops us pretty far. I mean, it even has some freezing temperatures as we go into like next week Friday. That's like on March the 20th, going into the morning time. So Thursday night, Friday morning. But if you want to see that, you would have to go and look at the ensembles and all that kind of stuff. But I want to check out the European model real quick just to see what it has in terms of the cold front timing. And so as we go on and push this forward all the way through Wednesday, going into Thursday, it has that cold front moving through, and it's actually pretty different in terms of the GFS because it actually has temperatures not really getting into the 80s at all. So models are disagreeing a bit on it. Models are definitely disagreeing a bit on it. But if we go in and look at the ensembles, we go to the GEFS real quick. We're going to go and look at the mean real quick and continue our way out into the future. It does have some freezing temperatures that definitely get close to the state by the time we get into Thursday, March the 19th. But it brings us just in the 30s and 40s actually for a good little bit. I mean, even as we go into like March like the 24th, we still have temperatures going on inside of the 40s and 50s for our lows. And so that's for the models. What about for our precipitation? How much rainfall are we projected to see this week from the National Weather Service? Well, right now it seems like that we are projected to get this much amount of rainfall. So you can look where your area is. But around a half an inch over here inside of Columbia, 4/10 of an inch inside of Greenville, half an inch Anderson, 6/10 of an inch in Charleston, half of an inch inside of right here inside of Myrtle Beach as well. So that's what we're seeing. And so if I go in and might go in and do this real quick. There we go. So you can see that a little bit better. But this is what it looks like. And there's the scale at the bottom if you want to go in and put it together of where your exact location may be. Now, obviously, will this be exact? No. There definitely is going to be a huge amount of rainfall that's happening to the west of us, but does not quite make it to us. Now, is it just because the time cut off? Possibly. But for right now, it seems like that we're not going to get too much more rainfall. Some regions won't, though, like 3/10 of an inch inside of Florence. 4/10 inside of Sumter, as well as half an inch only inside of Columbia. So that's what we're looking at there in terms of our future, just for the week, in terms of our precipitation. Now, if we go on and go back real quick, and then after this, we'll go on and talk with the audience. But I do want to go on and look at what the models have to say in terms of our rainfall as we go throughout the next, let's just go throughout all the way into Sunday or so. The GFS definitely has a little bit more of a bias towards the coastal areas in terms of precipitation. Doesn't have too much for like the northern areas and this weird little spot right here for some reason. No idea why that's there. We go towards the European model. European model definitely has a little bit more precipitation than the National Weather Service does. Has almost close to 2 inches of rainfall inside the low country. Same thing over here inside of Florence. Maybe an inch near Myrtle Beach. So the European model actually has a huge amount of rainfall falling, seems like on Thursday. So Thursday is definitely going to be our big day for rainfall, but still has a lot more to the west, though. But that's pretty much all I have to say for the future and for the week. So let's go in and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Maya Lula was here first. For tonight, she says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. I pray that everyone had a blessed day. Well, thank you so much for that today. And Georgetown was beautiful, and then the rain showers poured in. Well, thank you so much for that weather update for where you are. And then Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My name says, hello, you have a fairly nice day. I hope the rain helps the grass. Absolutely, I do hope so as well. Then, Maya Lou says, today its high was around 77 degrees, currently 67. My house right now, it is around 66 right now. High temperature for today was around 84. And then Miss Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. Got to 79 here in Moncks Corner and had a small thunderstorm. Also, Nana, yes. Mr. Chris says, currently 65 degrees here in Moncks Corner and cloudy. And then, thank you so much for that weather update for where you are right now. At my house, I'm trying to see it says partly cloudy, and it actually says it's pretty breezy. I'm actually getting gusts right now. At my house is up to 20 miles per hour right now, according to my Tempest weather station. But the thing is my old weather station is not catching any sort of rainfall at all. But my Tempest one says it is gusting hard at like 20 miles per hour out there right now. And if I go in and check, highest wind gust there says 17. Highest wind gust here it says around 20. So, oh no, that's interesting. But continue our way down. Let's see. Milo says we needed the rain. The pollen is pretty bad here. I've got lots of pine trees. Same thing at my house as well. Pollen has, been bad here. Been bad here as well. All the cars were covered, and so after that rain moved through, that pollen, I already saw it was already removed off of a lot of the cars already. So that definitely was good as well. Then Thad says, getting just 360 weather family, I trust all is well. All is well with me. Thank you so much for that. And then Mr. Chris says, I washed my truck yesterday, and today when I woke up, my truck was covered in yellow. Yeah, I know that is definitely a concern, and I actually did talk to somebody today while I was out, and they said that they wanted to wait to wash their car until after the pollen was done. And so what I would say is that honestly, we just rinse it off. That's just me though. That is just me though. Honestly, I just rinse it off, but not really wash it because if you just wash it, it's just gonna get covered up with pollen the next day, and all your hard work's gonna be done, and just not really gonna be as effective anymore. All your hard work of washing it. So honestly, I would just go on and just rinse it off, go and get all the pollen off, and whatever else you may want to do with it. That's what I would do. But a full wash, I think I would wait until maybe the pollen was done. Thad said it was a very dismal day here today, but blessed to see it nonetheless. No, well, that's great to hear. Mr. Chris says, please remember to go hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free, helps the channel grow. Absolutely. Right now we have around a good 17 people that have tuned in and only 8 likes. If you are part of that group of 9 that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. I want to work in the yard tomorrow. You should hopefully be able to. That says it rained most of the day. High was 65. And then continue our way down. The flower bed. That says very thankful for the rain. The newly planted fruits and veggies really needed it. I'm going to need to get up on the gutters to see how they look with all the leaves falling. I believe they're clogging the flow of water. Well, hopefully you can go on and get that done tomorrow. The rain showers did come in and cool us off a little bit. Our current temperature is 63. We're under a flood advisory until 10 a.m. due to the projected rainfall overnight. I'll go in and check that out and see what that has to do with it. And if you are, I don't hear any showers at the moment. No, I don't see anything at my house right now. No showers going on right now. And then Mr. Michael says, pray that everyone has had a good night and the rest of the wonderful week ahead. Thank you so much for that. Trail says, greetings, everyone, greetings to you. And that's it. So a pretty busy chat tonight. But we will go on and continue our way through. If you want to go on and put something inside the chat, you still can. But we're going to go on now and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about their areas for them. And so starting off with San Antonio, you have low temperatures for tonight at around 63, high temperatures for tomorrow around 83, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 69. There is a chance of thunderstorms tonight with patchy fog, same thing tomorrow. But tomorrow night it calms down, and I don't see the patchy fog thing that you're talking, or the patchy fog. I don't see the flood advisory that you're talking about on my end. I don't see anything here. It says that actually you're good in terms of advisories for tonight. So, at least from the National Weather Service website, they don't have anything either. So, I think that you're good for tonight. I think that that flood advisory may have went away. But going back though, in terms of your severe weather, excessive rainfall, for right now, looks like that you are not great Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday morning going to Wednesday morning. You do in fact have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall. That being, again, just an isolated flash flood risk, nothing too crazy, but make sure that you are paying attention and watching for it. Make sure that you are paying attention and watching for it. And then, other than that, severe weather for you, also not really expected at this time, so I'm not really too concerned about anything there as well. For your future, looks like that you will continue to kind of stay in the 80s. You'll drop down to the 70s, maybe going into Thursday, but you'll warm right back up into the 80s, and you may even see 90 degrees this weekend. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 60, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 77, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 55. Chance of showers tonight, patchy fog, definitely in the forecast as you go into tomorrow. So make sure that you are watching out for that as well. And then in terms of your future, because severe weather is not expected for you. And then in terms of excessive rainfall for days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you are good there. For your future, looks like that you will continue to be on the up. You'll be in the 80s going through Wednesday. Thursday will come along. You'll drop down to the 60s. But then as you go into the weekend, you actually will start to get back up into the 70s. So that cool down not going to last long. It's the same thing with South Carolina almost, to where our cool down over here is going to last long. And of course, Raleigh's not that far, so it would kind of make sense that they would have similar weather to what we have over here as well. But that's pretty much all I have to say there as well in terms of Raleigh. So let's go and look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia with low temperatures tonight at 43, high temperatures for tomorrow around 70, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 46. Precipitation, not expected. Going to be nice. Excessive rainfall, severe weather, you're good. So I wouldn't say you have to worry about anything there. For your future, looks like that you will continue to kind of actually go up. And in fact, it may actually get cold as you get into Thursday. You'll warm up as you go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then Thursday will come along and you'll be up down into the 60s for your highs. And what would you know? Showers and then snow is possible on Thursday. It's the professionals, but with a low of 34, not quite below freezing, but it may be a possibility that it may not stick. It may not be cold enough, and so that's definitely a possibility. Maybe it just snows, but it's not sticking. So that's possible, but we'll see what happens there. You'll see what happens there. And then after that, weekend's going to be nice, but you will be cold. 50s for your highs Friday all the way through Sunday. Then let's go on and look at the final location, that being Duncan, Oklahoma. And that being with low temperatures tonight at 51, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 85, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at 63. Precipitation not expected until Tuesday. Tuesday, you have showers will definitely be likely as you go into Tuesday and Tuesday night. But that does also come with a severe weather risk as well. On Tuesday, March the 10th, you have a slight risk of severe weather, so make sure that you are prepared for that. That will cause some scattered severe storms to happen. What are the threats? Right now, the threats aren't laid out until tomorrow, so we'll talk about that tomorrow night, and we'll see what the threats actually are. But now that that is out of the way, let's go on and look at your excessive rainfall, because right now you do have a risk for some excessive rainfall on Tuesday, same day as San Antonio, but instead of you being inside of the marginal risk, you're inside the slight risk, meaning not only do you have to watch out for scattered severe weather, but scattered flash flooding as well. So make sure you're prepared for Tuesday. For your future, after Tuesday's done with, Wednesday, you have a little chance of showers, but after that, dry out. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no chance of rainfall. You will climb back up into the 80s as well, because it will die down in terms of temperatures. Tuesday, 79, Wednesday, 66. And then you'll get back up into the 80s as you go into like Friday, for example. And that's all that I have to say there in terms of the entire 4 areas over there. So what about for the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Well, for right now, it seems like gusty winds and low relative humidity will contribute to critical fire weather Monday over parts of the central and the southern high plains. Scattered to widespread severe thunderstorms may bring damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes Monday through Thursday over the lower Mississippi River Valley and the southern plains into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Some dense fog is definitely a problem, going to be a problem. Southern Alabama, the panhandle of Florida, southern Mississippi, down into Louisiana. And the higher chance will mainly be in like Baton Rouge areas, going on near Gulfport, Mississippi, going into Macomb, Mississippi as well. So if you know anybody in those areas, let them know. Make sure they have them low beams on. And then it's going to be a bit breezy up there inside the Northwest. I mean, as they have rainfall moving through over there with some snowfall as well, they're going to get some gusty high winds over there as well. But for the most part, that's all that I can see here. So let's go ahead and see the top fans of the night for tonight. It was honestly about 4 people who are competing for that top spot tonight. If I go on and check, let me go on and count them up. See around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's a tie there. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. So I do have the 3. It actually is my Aunt Lula who was there at number 1 because she was here first. So just because she was here first, she gets that top spot. Mr. Chris at number 2, and then Fabs at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m., being a subscriber, because if you're not a subscriber, you can't type. Also, going on to being active inside the chat, and then also going on and being here early. So let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. And that's all that I really have to say for tonight for the most part. Make sure if you've not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. Also, hit the subscribe button. Right now we have around a good, 20 people tuned in and only 8 likes. If you're a part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. Also hit the subscribe button. If you're new, we're at 713 trying to get to 800. We are 12 away from 725. And we are 87 away from that main goal of 800. Also share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to. It's free, and you can change your mind anytime. That's all that I have to say, though. Make sure you tune back in tomorrow morning for your Monday morning forecast update, and then tomorrow evening for your Monday evening forecast update. And I will be back going into tomorrow morning for that time frame. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.